Today is Sunday, August 12th, 2018. Get ready for the Emergency Broadcast System, the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Now time to call your friends. And good morning, Lydia. Out there in Ireland, right? We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History series. Please note that the following views, any opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as medical, hate, nor legal advice. Good morning, Lynn. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Good morning, Ninja. And thank you, Lydia and Lynn, for the radio check, and stand by for the broadcast. We have fields to plow. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and the heart of Amish country and Free America Radio Network, in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series. The great lies of history, the ABCs of light, the duality in nature revealed, the patterns and the pictures, a book review this morning, and the piracy of words, the words that they use to kill us, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right here. We are the deprogramming program. What is it you're looking for, Neo? Sleeping at that computer all night long. Just looking for the answers, are you? Well, it is the battle for the mind. But the truth is light. That's the good news. And the darkness, ignorance. It's empty. It's void. There's nothing there. And these are the great antagonists, the one against the other. Who will win, ladies and gentlemen? Who do you think will win? I know you know that answer. It's the light. Of course. Because once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things as they really are, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. It's the nature of things, ladies and gentlemen. We can know that we know that we know, and not get caught up in the grand illusion. But if you don't want know where you're going, of course, then any road will get you there. And they've done a pretty good job of entertaining us and diverting us. Sports means diversion, out of Webster's 1828. Okay, diversion. They figured out every classic entertainment we could ever ask for. And then I think it all came down to the iPhone, and they got everybody looking down instead of looking up, right, Skywatchers? And so, yeah, they're under the spell, and it's a big spell. People can't spell, and you know, they never told us what they meant, what the outcome was going to be when they talked about outcome education, right? And what outcome are you talking about? Okay, Lydia, it's still good to have you. And the best way to identify the truth, of course, is to identify the great lies of history. And it takes a million lies to cover the first lie. And so we'll talk about all those lies right here on the Forbidden History series. and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Forbidden History series. I'm your host, Desert Owl, and I'm on record as being able to put out more words per hour than any other radio host in history, and I think you've noticed that, haven't you? And we're also pretty well non-commercial, of course, right? I've always been that way. It's just it's interesting that commercial sounds like communist, doesn't it? Commercials, those commies, and they're into commerce, certainly. Like yeah, it's just our world is an enigma, and and to they cut off our connection with the past, and yet history is a set of lies that have been agreed upon, right, in advance. That's Napoleon Bonaparte, okay, and they ultimately put him on an island somewhere and said, "Eat cake, Napoleon. We're done. You served us. Now go fishing, okay? But we can't have you around because you know too much. You know too much." And good morning, y'all. Love. Good to have you. And Natasha, good to have you as well over there. And I think you're out in Columbus, aren't you, Natasha? And Lou the Cat, good to have you. So yeah, we're on an interesting spaceship known as Planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen, and it took off a long time ago. But we've got a problem with aliens, and the aliens could be Aryans. If you change one letter, you get alien, you get Aryan, and so that's worth looking into. But the alien is, we are the alien, okay? If we come down to, we are the alien because we're strangers. We don't belong here. We are from another place beyond, okay? Beyond the light, through the light, beyond the light. Yes, Columbus. Okay, I thought so. And by the way, Natasha does some beautiful, beautiful a video. She just about 2 days ago did a outstanding presentation on. Oh, I don't remember the theme, but all of these beautiful graphics about our spiritual history. She may refer to the Book of Enoch. I can't remember, but I was captivated by all that beautiful imagery. So go check out Natasha's journey, and she's doing fantastic work over there. Okay, so I want to do a book review this morning, and I want to start off a little differently and do a reverse osmosis because I know that sometimes I'm limited on how much voice I have, and so I want to make sure I do my favorite all-time read from the Gospel of the Essenes. I thought I did it the other week, and I realized it was one of them, but not the most favorite, and so I wanted to finally get it out. Okay, and the Essenes, the truth is not being told about the Essenes, and there's propaganda brought out by the Khazars to deflect them or somehow disassociate them from being followers of Yeshua, which is rather insane, because the Essenes wanted nothing to do with the false priesthood. Nothing. And that's why they would be happy to go live in caves on dirt and out near the Dead Sea at the lowest point on earth. Okay. And so the Essenes were waiting for the Mashiach. They were waiting, and they were known as healers, therapeutae, or the Essene implies the essence. They were of the essence, but they knew that Jerusalem was no longer relevant. It was a staged commercial enterprise, the Starship Enterprise, you might say, and the priesthood had been working with the Phoenicians up until basically they were taken out by the Greeks. So that was the point when some of those that didn't go to the Dead Sea and live in Qumran in the caves, they actually came to the Americas. They actually settled right here in Ohio and up in Michigan and Minnesota. They came up the Mississippi River through the Gulf of Mexico, and they and they settled here. And some of that saga is found in the book of the Colbrin, which was the Bible of Joseph of Arimathea. And I've read some of that in here, and there's so much in that Colbrin, and I highly recommend you get a copy. The people in New Zealand are the authors of that book. It was stolen from them by somebody publishing it here in America by just simply scanning it, and so I have mixed feelings about promoting it and telling people to get it off Amazon But if you want to patronize the real authors that did all the legwork, then they're in New Zealand. Just do a search on the Colburn. Okay. But so today I want to read from the Gospel of the Essenes, and I want to welcome any new listeners that have tuned in as well, because I know we have new people coming in all the time, and it's a lot of fun to see people from around the world, and checking us out and saying hello. It's what an opportunity, to meet people that under no other circumstance would we ever have connected. So let's see here, and let's see. Lydia, I believe, is in Ireland, if I remember correctly. Lydia, Love is in Deutschland, aka Germany, and I think everyone else on here at this point is in the U.S., but we do have listeners from all around the world, and so I know they'll eventually cut that in biblical cord. They're not gonna let us celebrate life too long. These people, they love to see people suffer. That's their agenda. They get excited when they think about people suffering. Imagine we got starvation in the world, the suffering we've got, and if people had their act together and were decent, I mean, people who are running our world, literally, we would have no starvation, right? And we would just have no wars, no suffering. The fix is in, right? The cure, we know the cures. There's no cancer. There's no problem with cancer. There's no, the miracles we can do. The science is here, no doubt, to regrow your limbs and regrow your teeth. Okay, it's all here. We're so advanced in the potentials of our world in science that it defies the imagination, and yet they keep it for themselves, right? We're slaves, and they want us to eat cake while they get the meat and potatoes. So, but anyway, in the Gospel of the Essenes, it's a book that's called it's a speech. It's an oratory of Yeshua. It's a big one. Okay, not too big, but it's big enough. I wanted to do it first for if I had a problem with going the full run this morning, and so we just read about the number 7 yesterday in the works of Philo, and 7 being a very significant number, the number of perfection. 8 is the number of return, and so the day that Yeshua rose is the first day of the week, but it's also known as the 8th day because it's the day he came. So it's a full circle. It's that Ouroboros eating its tail. It is the 8th day is then therefore the symbol of the eternal day. And so, but this is called the sevenfold peace. Okay, and also Philo, because in here it talks about the Heavenly Father and earthly mother, to use their terminology in here, but Philo, it was in the commands that we're supposed to honor the mother and the father. Okay, Lydia, yeah, I thought you were in Ireland. We're told, to honor mother and father, but, what if our parents are not honorable, right? Because this was part of a spiritual society that received this commandment. But what if your parents are not honorable? Then certainly you couldn't honor them, right? I mean, if they were bad people, then it would be improper actually to honor them. Because they deserve no honor. So, but remember, there's always the microcosm, the macrocosm. Typically would have a double meaning, and so what about our cosmic mother, father, right? Our cosmic mother, father, should we honor them? And see, so people don't ever quite make all the connections, because the corruption in our scriptures has been so effective, and the propaganda has been so effective. But the Great Spirit. Remember, man and woman are the symbols of the Travain, of the divine. We are symbols of Yahweh, and Yahweh is male, female. The spirit is complete, right? And so the act of man and woman making love together, that's the only way you can create life, right? By coming back together and the mixing, like, in other words, the embrace. And so that embrace is symbolic of going back to the beginning, right? Going back to the beginning, this mystery of love, right? And so therefore we are in the division. We are divided creatures. but in the beginning it was one. It's the play of the one. So the Great Spirit that we regard as Father, because the male is dominant, is still male-female. It's called androgynous, both male and female. And therefore, so we were told to honor the mother and the father. Now in Philo, in one of his books, he talked about that. He says, some cultures only honor the mother, and that would have been Israel. Israel had the mother. They were serving Elohim, also known as the Fe, or plural Elohim. And so they were serving the mother. That's why at the Last Supper, then the Malachim, the truth seekers, were saying, "Come on, Yeshua, show us the Father. Show us the Father. We want to see him. You've been talking about him. Show." He says, "How long have I been with you, and you didn't know me?" Right? And so you see, there it is. It's been in front of us all of our life, but we never got the picture. Elohim was the woman. That's why they were following the lunar cycle, because the moon, in that essence, represented the Fe and Elohim. Okay, or even though there's always this duality that's going on. Okay, with like sun, the sun, Mary represents the sun, the virgin light, but Elohim is represented by the moon. So it depends upon what the relationship, the aspect, all of these different metaphysics we're talking about. It's okay. So Philo said it very well, and it was amazing that all of the answers are in Philo, to this great mystery. And he says some cultures only embrace the mother, and then other cultures only embrace the father. But the true culture, the perfect culture, embraces both the mother and the father. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, what are we going to kick the woman out now for, right? She'd been doing a job. She brought in the baby, and now let's kick her out with the bathwater, And so no, it's the mother and father are one. They're working together in the great mystery. The mother is matter. Mother is matter. Motor is mother. Motor, you can hear it. And these are all different forms of the same word, motor. And so the atom is a motor. The atom, atom, is a motor. And therefore the atom is a mother. You see, all physical creation is female by nature, and the spirit that is behind it is the Father, the essence, okay? So I wanted to make that statement because when I do this read, you have to know these things, because people have been pre-programmed. Prejudice. Prejudice means prejudgment, right? No, I already know everything. Therefore, I already know that's a bad deal. My preacher told me, and and I already know everything. So therefore, I know that the mother, and so everybody's already figured they figured everything out without ever trying to figure anything out, and anything they've ever followed is something that was put in them and programmed into them, and they were told. They've never had a revelation or a vision, or picked up the book of Philo and read those 1,000 pages, let alone the Old Testament, and they just picked up the New Testament and said a few words and then figured they got salvation. They're already good to go, and they don't need any more. And there's no plowing the field, no research to be done, no figuring out, don't prove anything. Rightly divide the word of truth. Well, rightly divide the word of truth means to add up the word of truth. Divide and add, to actually define the words of truth. That's what we're doing here. But apparently, other people think they don't have to define anything. They've already got a package deal, a special perk, and they're going, and they don't have to do nothing, don't have to plow. But it's an insane world. And now the new religion is the flat Earth, of course. And if you're not following the flat Earth, then you're really missing the mark, And I had a guy want to beat me up on that issue one day. Just amazing. And he called me to argue about it. I didn't call him. He called me one, and I said, "There's no argument, and just you follow what you think you need to follow." And he wanted me to have to prove my point, but he was the one who called. I said, "Okay, you say that the flat Earth is in all the ancient writings. Show me one. Show me one." Okay, because it's not. There is no. What I'm saying? And so, and he couldn't do that, so he had to hang up on me, of course, because that was the easy way to get out of that argument. You know, it's okay, you called me, you said, you know, the earth is flat. You say it's written in all the ancient records, so show me. Please show me. I'm happy to hear it. And couldn't do that. So there's more to the story. And you know that we've been lied to. The beast system runs the world, and it says that it deceived the entire world. So what part of the entire world don't we get? Entire, right? And so we have to be open. And even when, you know, we hear things that we know are not maybe necessarily true, correct, or complete, we can also still respect others' views. I'm not here to prove anything to you. I put it on the table. What you do with it's your business. Okay. I'm not going to be following up with you. Say, did you pick it off the table? You know, that's your business. I put it on the table. That's what Yeshua told me to do, to put it on the table, and what you do with it is your business. So all I'm doing is proving things to myself. That's all. I prove things to myself because I want to know. And therefore, that's all that matters. And I would love for my friends to see what I see, but I can't make them see anything. Behold means you must see and read it for yourself. They didn't tell you that, did they? No, of course not, because they don't want you to see and read things for yourself. They want you to listen to what you're being told, and that's all. You know, they know better. Yeah, they know better, sure. So I could bring you a presentation and put in the audio right now of the Khazar Jews, how they're creating a story about the Essenes and how they are really the enemies of Christ. They're the enemies, you know, and how they're at battle with each other, right? When they were the sons of light that were waiting for you know, the Mashiach to come, and they were the first ones good to go. That was after the 40 days Yeshua fasted, you know, for 40 days and tempted in the wilderness. And then the first place he went after he was brought back to health, because he was starving to death. You know, 40 days without food, you're going to starve quite a bit. And then they nurtured him back, the royal Malak, the Malachim, not angels, says angels, but that's the royal Malachim, the royal family, found him starving to death. He wouldn't even turn a stone into bread to save his own life. And so they found him at the last moment and brought him back. In the first place he went to, after his 40 days of testing, he went into the community of the Essenes. He met them first. Why? Because they were all good to go, while the rest of the world was still trying to figure him out. Even his 12 followers, you know, couldn't figure him out. Didn't even know what he meant when he said he was going to raise from the dead. And then they all went and hid like criminals, you know, denying him, abandoning him, you know, all of that. But that's not the Essene. And remember when he was taken up to the throne of the Son after, you know, he had rose from the dead, and there was two men there in white. Well, those were the Essenes. The two men in white are the Essene. They wore white, okay, and they are periodically seen in the story because they were good to go. They dedicated. If you read the the Dead Sea Scrolls and how they lived, you know, these were the most aesthetic and devoted and prepared for the Mashiach when he would come. So these things nobody's talking about, you know, that you just don't hear it in the mainstream, of course, because they're not allowed to talk about it. They've got to follow their KJV and, you know, and don't move off that center point because it's all mind control. Bottom line, we're supposed to be able to think freely, to consider things. And when we read that original gospel, we find out that, you know, they're on the Silk Road, going from China to Africa, going from India to Europe, and they were looking for the book, just like, you know, everybody today wants to get an iPhone. We want to have a radio. We want to have television. We want to have a computer. Well, back then the technology was books, words, scrolls. And so any caravan coming through, they want to know, hey, do you have any books? Do you have any information? And so they were reading Socrates. They were reading about the life of Buddha. They're reading about Zarathustra. I mean, they were eating it up because they loved knowledge and they wanted to know what it was like in another part of the world. It wasn't evil to learn about Buddha or to learn about Zarathustra or Socrates. It wasn't, you know, they were open-minded. They were intellectuals. They were able, you know what I'm saying? That we got this picture that they were like some narrow-minded little group there and isolated from the rest of the world. They were on the Silk Road. I mean, when Yeshua was born, was it Israel that came, you know, to visit him and give him gifts? No. It wasn't. It was Jerusalem, the priesthood. No, it was foreigners from what, like 500 miles away or maybe more, from Persia. Persians came to bow down before him and give him gifts. Foreigners on the Silk Road. You see, so the picture that we get is so different than the way it really was back then. And the original gospel, aka the Aquarian gospel, is one of the best pictures of what that world was like. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my light and I'm going to read you now the sevenfold peace, the words of Yeshua that they didn't want you to hear, right? But the Essenes brought these writings to the West when they were fleeing from the persecutions of Rome, and then also Genghis Khan, when they're in the Middle East, and it ended up in, ultimately these writings ended up in the Vatican and in the library in Austria. Okay, and so let me take a deep breath here and a sip of my tonic here for my throat. So, and want to welcome any new listeners tuning in. Ninja, you say you've been cut off? Can see the chat but can't hear you. Okay, so reboot. Did you reboot? Okay, good, you're back. Yeah, remember, if you're cut off like that, just do a reboot. That's typically what you've got to do. Okay, so here we are. It's from the Essene book of Yeshua, the sevenfold peace. And seeing the multitude, Yeshua went up into a mountain, and his truth seekers came unto him. And by the way, disciples is methaim. Methaim means truth seekers. Truth seekers. Okay. Is that you, Ninja, talking about me, or what? Or you wiped your forehead? I don't get it. All right. So, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're glad you're back. Gotcha. All right. I have to decode these messages here sometimes. I don't get it. So, and seeing the multitude, Yeshua went up into a mountain, and his truth seekers came unto him, and all those who hungered for his shavors, his words of fire. And seeing them gathered, he opened his mouth and plowed and planted seed within them by breathing. The shalom of eternal peace I bring unto you, my pure seed. The sevenfold shalom of eternal peace of the earthly mother and of the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son. The shalom of eternal peace I bring unto your body. The body is the budai. It's a flower waiting to be opened. The budai. Okay. Good morning, Barb. Glad you made it. And the shalom of eternal peace I bring to your budai, guided by the royal messenger of power. The shalom of eternal peace I bring to your heart, guided by the royal messenger of travain love. The shalom of eternal peace I bring unto your mind, guided by the royal messenger of wisdom in wise judgment. Through the royal messengers of power, travain love, and wisdom in wise judgment, you will transcend the seven paths of the infinite garden. And so the seven paths could possibly refer to the 7 days of the week. That's the trail we go down every week, right? Yes, I decoded that, Barb. Thank you. Very good. Okay, symbols rule, right? Okay. So so you will travel, you will transcend the seven paths of the infinite garden. Infinite garden. And your budai and your heart and your mind. The heart would be like the royal center. That's why the word ear is right in the word heart. And your heart and your mind. And if you take the D off the mind, then the mind becomes the mine, the gold mine, right? There's the mind. The D is a corruption. Remember, that's a symbol of death. The mind is the mine. It's the place where we work to harvest the treasure. The treasures of heaven is the classic statement of the mine, the gold mine. Okay, and shall join in oneness, in the chakra flight to the cosmic sea of the eternal peace. Yeah, I speak the truth throughout all time. The paths are 7 through the infinite garden. And each must be transcended by the Buddhi, the heart, and the mind as one, lest you stumble and fall into the abyss of emptiness. For as a bird cannot fly with one wing, so does the bird of wisdom need 2 wings of infinite power and infinite love to soar above the abyss, the great chasm, to the pure anointed tree of life. For the Buddhi alone is an abandoned house seen from far away. What was once thought beautiful is but ruin and desolation when drawing near. The body alone is as a chariot fashioned from gold, whose maker sets it on a pedestal, loathing to soil it with its use. Good morning, Martha. Glad you can make it. But as a golden idol, it is ugly and without grace. For only in a moment does it reveal its true purpose. Like the hollow blackness of a window when the wind puts out its candle, is the body alone, with no heart and no mind to fill it with light. And the heart alone is like a sun with no earth to shine upon, a light in the void, a ball of warmth drowned in a sea of blackness. For when a blood of the earth does love, that love turns only to its own destruction. When there is no hand to stretch forth in perfect works, and no mind to weave the flames of pure desire into a tapestry of songs, like a whirlwind in the desert, is the heart alone, with no body and no mind to lead it singing through the cypress and the pine. And the mind alone is an anointed pure scroll, which has worn thin with the years and must be buried. The truth and beauty of its shavors, its words, has not changed, but the eyes can no longer read the faded letters and symbols on the page, and it falls to pieces in your hands. So is the mind without the heart to give it the shavors, the words, and without the body to do its deeds and action. For what avails wisdom and wise judgment without a heart to feel, and without a tongue to give it voice? Barren as the womb of an aged woman is the mind alone, with no heart and no Buddhi to fill it with life. And it is true throughout all time, and I do speak the truth, that the Buddhi and the heart and the mind are as a chariot and a horse and a driver. The chariot is the Buddhi, the body, forged in strength to do the will of the great Father of light, who rules from his throne in the sun and of the earthly Elohimic mother. The heart is the fiery steed, illuminated and courageous, who carries the chariot bravely wherever the road be smooth, or wherever the stones and fallen trees lie in its path. And the driver is the mind, holding the reins of wisdom in wise judgment, seeing from above what lies on the far horizon, looking way ahead, charting the course of the hoofs and the wheels. Give ear, true and perfect, complete, royal stars, my royal messengers, and I will spark out. So give me your ears, true and perfect, within the earth, the burning shavors of fire, out of my mouth they come. My doctrine, it drops down like the rayon, the rain. My speech, it does distill as the dew upon the land, and as the small rain upon the tender herb, the drops that remain, as the showers upon the grass. Baruch, Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who is strong in the Bodai, for he will have oneness upon the earth, and will celebrate a daily feast at my table with all the gifts of the royal messengers of the earth, from the earth. The golden wheat and the seed, the purple grapes of the autumn, the ripe fruit of the trees, the amber honey of the bees. Thou must seek the fresh air of the forest and of the fields. And there, in the center of them, you will find the royal messenger of the air. Put off your shoes and clothing and suffer the royal messenger of the air to embrace all your Bodai. And then you will breathe long and deeply, that the royal messenger of the air may be brought deep within you. Enter into the cool and flowing river and suffer the royal messenger of the water. And royal messenger is, also could imply the natural forces, because it's that's what it's in essence. See, the word is angel, but it's the natural forces of the air, the natural forces of the water. You see, what has been provided for us to nurture us, to sustain us. And let that water embrace all of your Bodai. And cast yourself wholly into its engulfing arms. And as often as you move the air with your breath, move the Bodai and the water as well. And you will seek the natural force of the sun, the sunlight, and enter into that embrace, which does purify the only true anointed flame. And all of these things are of the only true anointed pure shelter of light, of the Elohimic mother. She did not give you birth. She who did give you birth, and the I who has found the shalom of eternal peace with the Bodai hath built a pure temple wherein may dwell forever the great breath of the wind and fire of the great Elohim, Yahweh. Know this shalom of eternal peace with your mind. Desire this shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill this shalom of eternal peace with your Bodai, your temple. Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who is wise in the mind, for he will create a new star. The mind of the wise is a well-plowed field, which gives forth abundance and plenty without end. For if you show a handful of seed to a wise man, he will see in his mind's eye an ocean, a field of golden wheat. And if you show a handful of seed to a fool, he will see only what is before him and call them worthless pebbles or seed. And as the field of the wise man gives forth grain in abundance, and the field of the fool is a harvest only of stones, so it is with our thoughts. As the sheaf of golden wheat lies hidden within the tiny kernel, so is the royal domain, the royal sovereign domain of the throne of the Son, the kingdom of heaven, hidden within our thoughts. If they be filled with the power, the travail love, and the wisdom and wise judgment of the royal messengers of the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son, so they will carry us up to the cosmic sea of infinity. But if they be stained with corruption and hatred and ignorance, they will become chains upon our feet and make pillars of pain and suffering. No blood of the earth can serve two mother stars, can have two owners. Neither can blind thoughts live in a mind filled with the light of the pure shelter and the travail law. The eye who has found the shalom of eternal peace with the mind hath learned to soar beyond the realm of the natural world. Know the shalom of a peace, eternal peace with your mind, and desire the shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill the shalom of eternal peace with your Buddha. Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who is pure in heart. For the eye will see the great Elohim, Elohim. All live in the one of the many. For as the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son has given you his pure anointed Spirit, the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit, the holy breath, and your Elohimic mother has given you her body that is pure, so shall you give travail love to all of your brothers and sisters. And your true brothers and sisters are those who do the will of the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son, and of your Elohimic mother. Let your love be as the sunshine, which shines down on all the creation and the creatures of the earth, and does not favor one blade of grass above another. And this travail love will flow as a fountain from brother to brother as it is spent. And so shall it be replenished. For travail love is eternal. Travail love is stronger than the currents of deep waters. Travail love is stronger than death. And if a blood of the earth does not have travail love, then he does build a wall between himself and all of the creatures of the earth and all creation. And therein the eye dwells in loneliness and pain, or he may become as an angry whirlpool which sucks into its depths everything that floats too nearby. For the heart is like a sea of mighty waves, and the travail love and wisdom and wise judgment must temper it. As the warm sun breaks through the clouds and quiets the restless sea, the eye who has found the shalom of eternal peace with his brothers has entered into the royal sovereign domain of the travail love, the kingdom of love, and will see Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, face to face, sun to sun, light to light. Know the shalom of eternal peace with your mind. Desire the shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill the shalom of eternal peace with your bud eye. Baruch, endowed and enlightened, is the mind's eye that sees in the night and is the seed of light, who does build on earth the royal sovereign domain of the sun, the royal house of the sun. For the eye, he will dwell in both worlds. And you will follow the pure shelter of the Trevane law of the brother estate, which breathes that none will have great wealth and none will be poor. And all will work together in the garden of the brother estate. Yet each will follow the path that has been prepared for them, and each will commune with his own heart and royal center. For in the infinite garden there are many diverse flowers. Who will say that this one is best, or because its color is purple, that this one is more favored, or because its stalk is long and slender? Because through the brothers, though they be of different complexion, yet they all work in the vineyard of the Elohimic mother, the Elohimic mother, and they all do perform and lift their voices together in the creation of light and praise of the great Father of light who rules from his throne in the sun. And together they break the only true anointed pure bread, the bread of continuance, the bread of the presence, and in silence share the anointed pure meal of thanksgiving. And there will be no peace among peoples till there be one garden of the brother estate over the earth. For how can there be shalom of eternal peace when each blood of the earth pursues his own selfish gain and does sell his soul into slavery? You, seed of light, do gather with your brothers and then go out and seed plant the ways of the pure shelter in the Trevane law before those who want to hear and give ear. The eye who has found the shalom of eternal peace with the brother estate of blood of the earth has made himself the co-worker of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. Know this shalom of eternal peace with your mind. Desire this shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill this shalom of eternal peace with your bodai. Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who does study the books of the law, the pure shelter. For the eye will be like a candle in the dark of night, and like an island of truth from the tree's root in a sea of falsehood. For you know that the written word, the shavor, the flaming sword of fire, which comes from Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, is a reflection of the throne of the sun in the cosmic sea, even as the bright stars reflect their light that is beaming forth, as the shavors of the ancient ones are etched with the hands of the great Elohim on the sacred scrolls, so is the pure shelter of the Trevane law engraved on the hearts of the faithful, those who have victory of light, who do study them. For it is breathed from ancient time that in the beginning there were giants in the earth, and mighty men which were of old, men of renown, and the seed of light must guard and preserve this written record, unless we become again like beasts and know not the royal domain of the royal messengers. No, you must know as well that only through the written word, through the written shavors, the flaming swords of fire, can you find the natural law, the pure shelter, which is unwritten, as the spring which flows from the ground and has a hidden source in the secret depths beneath the earth. The written pure shelter, the natural law, it is the instrument by which the non-written law and pure shelter is comprehended. As the mute branch of a tree becomes a singing flute in the hands of a shepherd, many there are who would stop in the tranquil valley of ignorance, where little children play and butterflies dance in the sun, for their short hour of life. But none can remain there long. And ahead rise the somber mountains of learning. Many there are who are afraid to cross that great chasm, and many there are who have fallen bruised and bleeding from their steep and rugged slopes. But the victory of light is the guide. The light is the guide over the gaping chasm, and perseverance, the foothold in those jagged rocks. And beyond the icy peaks of struggle lies the shalom of eternal peace and beauty, of the infinite garden of the true knowledge of fire, the knowledge of fire, where the meaning of the pure shelter and the Travain law is made known to the seed of light. Here in the center of its forest stands the tree of life, the mystery of mysteries. The eye who has found the shalom of eternal peace with the seed plantings of the ancients, through the light of the mind, through the light of nature, and through the study of the sacred shavors, word, hath entered into the great mystery of the cloud-filled hall of the ancients, where dwells the only true anointed breath of the brother estate, of whom no blood of the earth may speak. Know the shalom of eternal peace with your mind. Desire this shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill this shalom of eternal peace with your bud eye. Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who knows his Elohimic mother intimately, for she is the institutor of this life. Know that your mother is in you, and you are in her, and she bore you and gave you form, and she is the institutor of your life, the mother. She it was who gave you your body, and to her will you one day give it back again, into the heart of her bosom. Know that the blood which runs in you is born of the blood of your earthly mother, Elohimic mother. And her blood falls from the clouds, leaps up from the womb of the earth, is shining bubbles in the brooks of the mountains, flows wide in the rivers of the plains, sleeps in the lakes, rages mightily in the tempestuous sea. Know that the air which you do breathe is born of the breath of your Elohimic mother, and her breath is azure and blue in the sky, in the highest of the sky, deep blue. And then it sows in the tops of the mountains, and whispers in the leaves of the forest, and billows over the wheat fields and the barley and the grain, slumbers in the deep valleys, burns hot in the desert. Know that the hardness of your bones is born of the mineral wealth of the earthly mother, the bone and the stone of the rocks. And know that the tenderness of your flesh is born of the flesh of the Elohimic mother, she whose flesh waxed yellow and red in the fruits of the trees, and the light of the eyes, the A's, the hearing of your ears, the R's. These are born of the colors and the sounds of the earthly mother, your Elohimic mother, who does enclose you about as the waves of the sea enclose a fish, as the eddying air a bird. I speak the truth throughout all time. Blood of the earth is the seed of the earthly Elohimic mother, and from her did the seed of the moon receive his body, his Bodai, even as the Bodai of the newborn babe is born of the womb of his mother. I speak the truth throughout all time. You are one with the Elohimic mother, and she is in you, and you are in her. Of her were you born, and in her do you move and live. And to her will you one day return again. For this reason you must keep her pure shelter and her travail law, for none can live long, neither be happy, but the I who honors his Elohimic mother and keeps her laws and her pure shelter. For your breath is her breath, your blood is her blood, your bones are her bone, your flesh are her flesh, and your eyes and your ears are her eyes and her ears. And the I who has found the shalom of eternal peace with his Elohimic mother will never know death. Know this shalom of peace with your mind, and desire this shalom of eternal peace with your heart, and fulfill the shalom of eternal peace with your Bodai. Baruch, endowed and enlightened with a mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the seed of light, who does seek his great Father who rules from the throne of the sun. For he, the I, will have life in a day without end. The I that dwells in the secret place of the mother star in the eye of the return does live under the shadow of the great eye of the return, the powerful eye of the return of the Father. For the I will give his royal messengers charge over you, to keep you in all of your ways, and know that the great Yahweh has been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever he had formed the earth or any other world, and stars and planets, even from the beginning, the everlasting to the everlasting, hath there been the travail love between the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son, the great atom, and his seed. And how shall this love then be severed? From the beginning until the end of time does the only true anointed pure great flame of the travail love encircle the head of the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son and the seed of light. How then shall this love be extinguished? For not as a candle does it burn, nor yet as a fire raging in a forest. It is true throughout all time. It burns with the flame of a non-ending force of light, never to be extinguished. And that flame cannot be consumed either. You that love the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son, then do his bidding. You must walk with his royal messengers, who are the anointed ones, and find that shalom of eternal peace in his only true anointed pure shelter in the natural law. For his pure shelter and natural law is the law, is the pure shelter that protects you. Yeah, it is the law of all laws, the shelter of all shelters. Through his pure shelter and travail law, the eye has made the earth and the throne of the sun to be one, to be married with the light. The mountains and the sea are his footstool. With his hands, the eye has made us and fashioned us, the architect of our design, and the eye gives us our comprehension, the light that shines, that we may learn of the pure shelter and the travail law. The eye is covered with a non-ending light, as with a garment. The eye stretches out the cosmos like a curtain, and the eye makes the clouds his chariots, and the eye walks upon the wings of the wind, and the eye sends the springs into the valleys, and his breath is in the mighty trees, and his hand are in the deep places of the earth. There is nowhere that he is not. And the strength of the hills is his as well. The sea and the great oceans are his. And his hands form the dry land. And all the stars declare the illumination and perfection of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. And the fulfillment shows, and the sky reveals his pure shelter and his law. And for his seed does he bequeath his royal domain, his royal sovereign domain. And to those who walk with his royal messengers, his anointed ones, and find their shalom of eternal peace with his only true anointed pure shelter and divine law, do you want to know more, my seed? How may we speak with our lips in our life that which cannot be spoken? It is like a pomegranate eaten by a mute. How then may he tell about its flavor? If we say the great Father who rules from his throne in the Son dwells within us alone, then is the cosmos ashamed? If we say that he dwells without us only, that is falsehood. The eye which scans over the far horizon, and the eye which sees the hearts of men, he makes them as one eye, one A. The eye, the A, is not seen. And the I, the A, is not hidden. And the I and the A is not revealed. Nor is it unrevealed. My seed, there are no burning swords of fire, no words to begin to speak about that which the I, he is. Only this do we know. We are his seed, and he is our great Father. He is our Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, and we are the seed of his garden and the sheep of his hand. And the I who has found the shalom of eternal peace with his great Father, who rules from his throne in the Son, hath entered into the great mystery of the sanctuary, of the only true anointed pure great breath of the pure shelter in the Travain law at high noon, perpetual high noon, and hath made a covenant with Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, which does endure forever. So know this shalom of eternal peace with your mind, and desire this shalom of eternal peace with your heart, your royal center, and fulfill this shalom of eternal peace with your bodai. And though the sun and the earth may pass away, not one letter, not one dot of the only true anointed pure law and pure shelter will change or ever pass away. For in the beginning is the pure shelter and the natural law. And the pure shelter and the natural law is with Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. And the pure shelter and the natural law is Yahweh. May this sevenfold shalom of eternal peace of the great Father who rules from the throne of the Son be with you always and always. Yamun. And you just heard the sevenfold peace. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a break, and we'll be right back. Hope you enjoy. They didn't give you that one at the bullpit, did they? And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And I was just reviewing some of your comments, and I see you're all getting the picture this morning, aren't you? That we've been denied so much more of the words of Yeshua. What did Yochanan say Did he not say that you know that if you know all the things that Yeshua breathed and that he did, it could the world could not contain the books that could be written, right? Could not contain the books, and yet the fragments are all over the planet, you know, waiting for us to find them. And so, you know, I saw you know, as I was scrolling up, I saw Yah Love. She broke apart the word heart and put the H and a space and ear and a space and T. You know, after I had you know reflected on that when I read it the first time, or you know, right at the beginning, and then when I saw that, I saw the symbol. I got the picture for the first time. All right, right here, because we're continually reading, we're continually learning how to read. Hey, good to have you, Crystal. You're welcome. Thank you. And so look at the H and then a space, an ear, and the T. So what do we have? The H is the symbol of the breath. And then at the end, at the beginning is the breath. And what do we have at the end? The T, the sacrifice, right? The breath is in the beginning because he breathed. Yahweh breathed. And then everything came forth. And then there was light. And then out of the light came all of creation. And we have our solar system. The children of the sun are circling around the light. And what's in between the breath and the sacrifice, in the word heart, is the ear for hearing. We were given breath, we hear, and then we become the sacrifice. Isn't that beautiful? That is the royal center. Yeah, the Gospel of Thomas, the works, yeah, absolutely. There's so many treasures that we're just not reading, and our days are ticking, you know, and we have so much to read. We've got a library. I have 10 times more lost writings than we have in our received scriptures, okay? I've got 10 times more lost writings than I do receive scriptures, okay? There's definitely challenges within, you know, all the translations. There's no exception, none, okay? We've got to look at everything independently, individually, and the Father will give us light, okay, to get the picture. That is his will. It is his will that we can see and read it for ourselves and breathe. Oh, yeah, I've got the Gospel of Thomas. Yeah, I've been reading it since I was in my mid-20s, okay, all my life. Yeah, in fact, I was thinking I was going to do a read maybe next Sunday, okay? I want to do a special every Sunday morning because I know people regard it as the most important time in their spiritual walk to, you know, be reflective. And so I'll meditate on doing the Gospel of Thomas next Sunday because, you know, none of it's been translated correctly or transliterated correctly, and I want to, you know, give the correct interpretation in the, you know, live on the broadcast. And hi, Tam Bear, good to have you. Yeah, it's a great day. It's a great day hanging out with great people. I'm overwhelmed, you know, to be here with everybody. Such wonderful and dedicated people. I'm inspired. Okay, I am inspired, and I'm just sharing what has been so important to me all my days, and I'm learning. Yeah, okay, Natasha, way to go. So I'm going to open up now and continue on our cosmic journey here, which is the blink of an eye. You know, we're here and we're gone in a heartbeat. You know that, right? Time passes so fast. The older you get, it seems to go even quicker. And so I just want my morning read in the dictionary of all scriptures and myths, right? And so I was on the topic of earth, ground, and world. Okay, 3 words, all related: earth, ground, and world, in the letter E. And so on the topic, because I go through a different letter every day, and then I go back at the beginning, and I'm working my way through this giant 1,000-page dictionary. So earth, ground, and world, a symbol of the lower nature of the soul, lower mental, astral, and physical planes, which constitute the arena of life for the ego. Quote, and God Elohim called the dry land earth, and gathered together of the waters he called oceans. And Elohim saw that it was perfect. In fact, it was the word, they put the word good in our scriptures. It wasn't good, it was Yaltzar. It says it's Yaltzar. Well, Yal and Zar are the two power words, if there ever were two power words. It means it was complete, it was perfect, it was abundant, without measure, impossible to measure. There was no end to the resource. Not good, you know. That's how they give it to us. Milk toast. Milk toast. Why don't you just put the word Yaltzar there and we'll figure it out then, But continuing, that was Genesis 1:10. And matter being further differentiated, dry land, earth, stands for the lower nature, the natural man, and the gathering together of the waters. And we're talking about symbols. That's why I'm reading this. It's about symbolism. Okay? And gathering together of the waters signifies the forming of the astral sea of the desires, and all is made perfect in the course of involution. Then these knowledges are the waters gathered together into one place and are called seas or oceans. But the external, well, actually, sea, sometimes it's hard to know what was the correct transliteration, but when they go to sea, why did they call it sea? Because when you go out there, you better be looking or you're going to get lost and you'll never come back home. That's why they call it the sea, because you're going to sea, right? You're going to navigate. And so you better be able to see or you're in trouble. But the external man is called dry land, and presently earth. And then this is from the legend of the winged sun disk, okay? And it's from the tradition in Mitzrayim. But remember, they were putting on the cloak of benevolence and goodness, not making themselves out to be evil. It just the priesthood was evil. But so we have to read it because it helps create pictures. And so Thoth, which is synonymous with the word thought and also the word oath. And so when it's in reference to the sun disk, it's implying that from the sun came the oath that man would be delivered. That was the message from the beginning. Okay, that there was a deliverance. So Thoth spake after he saw the enemies lying upon the earth. And enlightenment is for your heart, you Elohim of the cosmos. Enlightenment is for your heart, you Elohim of the earth. And that's the legend of the winged sun disk. Okay, and you've seen the winged sun disk all your life in the reliefs of the ancient past, and that's the meaning of that. Okay, that he is coming on the wings of fire to save you, the light. Okay, the higher mind now, continuing on a different excerpt, because he's pulled excerpts out of different resources. I don't know how this guy could have done it back in the 1950s without a computer. The high-minded, now awakened in the soul, sees the enemies or desires prone upon the earth or lower planes. Threat the ego sings. Thereat the ego sings. Glad is the Mashiach who hath triumphed over the desire nature and its illusions. Unquote. Glad are the higher qualities of the lower mind, which are now raised up victoriously. I have moved against the earth. I have caused my inherited fate to rest. And the self has come forth in the lower nature to contend against it. The self has offered itself as a sacrifice, for it has voluntarily imposed limitation upon itself for the sake of the many. And that's one I put in brackets, in red brackets. That one really stood out to me. I'm going to read it again. The self has come forth in the lower nature to contend against itself. The self has offered itself as a sacrifice, for it has voluntarily imposed limitations upon itself for the sake of the many. The Mashiach's redemption of the world was the true man. All the truer man became all the truer man because it was all the truer man because it was Elohim in man. It was the Father in the Son who showed what earth used in the fear of Yahweh might be. In him there could be no doubt of what sort had been the giving of the earth to the seed of the moon, of which David had sung so long ago. It could not for one moment seem to have been a gift to man's self-indulgence and selfishness. It certainly had not been a giving of the earth away from the great Elohim. It's still his. It had been given to the divine nature in blood of the earth, to that in blood of the earth which had in it the nature of divinity, and which was and is capable by obedience of becoming more infinitely near to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. That this is the real nature of Yahweh's gifts of earth to blood of the earth, and is the assertion of the incarnation and of all the life of Yeshua. And that's Phillips Brooks' sermon, The Earth of the Redemption. He who dwells in the earth is distinct from the earth, not of the earth, whom the earth knows not, whose body the earth is, who rules from the earth from within. He is your soul, the inner guide of the immortality. The self-incarnate in the lower nature, earth, is distinct from the lower nature, whom the lower nature knows not, whose vehicle the lower nature is. That's the Bodai, who rules the lower nature from within. That's the Shul, that's the knowledge, that's the light. He is the individual soul or self, the inner guide to perfection, the immortal ego, or the immortal self. Job 9:24 here. For what is denoted by the designation of the earth, in quotes, saving the flesh. The designation of the earth implies the flesh, who by the title of the wicked must be saved from this adversary. St. Gregory on Morals on the book of Job. See Adam, the lower, altar, ground, chaos, dew, flesh, ground, incarnation, Jesus, mortal, land, man, natural, redemption, sea, thoth, and tribute. Okay? So whenever I come upon an interesting one, I like to read it and share it with y'all, because I know you're never going to read the book. I hope you do, but I hope you get it. But you get it here first, okay? So that's I'm happy to do it. You know, I love sharing. I've been sharing all my life, and there's not enough time, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have enough time, and so I thought appropriately we could talk about out of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary about law. I opened up and stumbled on the page where I've got everything written about the law and what is law and what is not law, ladies and gentlemen. You heard me refer to the pure shelter, okay? And the pure shelter is the original for the law, okay? Let's talk about that real quick, because no, I'm the only one that I've ever mention the pure shelter. And it was so clear to me one day when the revelation came. I was walking down the road when I was there in Florida, and I looked up at the sun, that beautiful sun that we don't see anymore. That was about 12 years ago, okay? And it was a beautiful day, just a beautiful day, and walking down the sidewalk, and I was looking up at the sun and praying at the same time, giving thanks. And all of a sudden I realized that the sun at high noon represented, thank you for those hearts, Liz, appreciate that. And the law, that the sun at high noon represented Yahweh and Yeshua. It was a perpetual high noon in Yeshua, in the Mashiach. We're always at high noon, meaning the apex of judgment, of a connection, of a victory of light in the moment we need it. And that is called the pure shelter. He is good to go to protect the servant hand, wants to serve you, and that is the pure shelter. The word law is a corruption, and it comes from the Khazar Jewish tradition. Okay? That's why it's only 3 letters, because it's a code. What do you get backwards? Law backwards is wall. Oh, is it a wall to keep us in? Or is it a wall to keep us out? But it's a wall, and we don't want a wall. The walls were supposed to come down, right? And that's when we find out that Yahweh is rich. Yariko, Jericho, the walls came down. Yahweh is rich. And we gain our inheritance, which is the eternal walk, the long walk in the day without end. So law is a corruption. The original is the pure shelter, meaning nobody can hurt you. And even if they imprisoned you, they can't hurt who you are, because you are not the body. You are the intellect. You are the mind. And you want to put there the treasures in heaven. The treasures in heaven are not materialism. It is knowledge. It is truth throughout all time. Okay? So, let's read a little bit about law, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I'll turn off my air conditioner now. I got enough cool. Yeah, if we embrace the law, what we call law, we have to define the law. It's real simple, right? So we'll start here with the laws of diction. Sounds, the A's and the T's turn their sounds in and off, on and off. I misspelled it. The A's and the T's have a dual nature, and their sounds turn on and off in order to reveal their hidden meaning. Okay, so the first letter of the alphabet and the last letter of the alphabet are silent symbols. But in our modern time, in our diction, we give sound to them, and that was part of the trickery of the code that they put upon us. And so, just like the book Sun Tzu, TZU, the T is silent. Okay, and the T, it's interesting because in Farrar Fenton, he putting the T in front of a bunch of the words. The silent T in Farrar Fenton is there because he knew it. He knew it's true. It's a symbol. It's a symbol of creation. It's a symbol of sacrifice. And it's a silent symbol. Wasn't Yeshua there for 3 hours silent? There was the silent T. Yeshua was on it. And then at the end, he finally speaks, right? Then he finally speaks. He's there silently as that silent symbol. The navigator, he's navigating, showing us the way back home. Okay? And Tam Bear, awesome listening, Desert Owl. Love your live streams. Everyone smash that like button for our friend Desert Owl. Thank you, Tam Bear. That's so sweet. Okay. So 1A is a consonant. That's the first letter of the alphabet. And then the vowel was not a letter that was written down. As they read the consonants, they pronounced the sound. They were mysteries, and their vowels are the seeds of light that give life unto the consonantal words. And so symbols or letters are only supposed to have one sound. We're talking about the laws of diction here. And symbols or letters that sound the same are related or sisters. And the duality is in the alphabet, and I'll be sharing that once I get that notepad touchscreen thing. I've got to get the order going, and then hopefully in about a week I'll have it, and then I'll be drawing on the computer and really giving you some pictures to look at. It's a lot better it's a lot better than doing it with that scratch board I use. Okay, so law in the Real Da Vinci Code etymological dictionary, under law, reversed is wall, that which keeps people out, and that which keeps people in. The original word for law is shelter. It is that which protects you. A root form is shell. You hear the word shell, right? Go get a seashell, right? You think, can you open that shell? No way, right? That shell is clammed shut. And you got to get a hammer to break that shell open. That's the pure shelter, you see? We got it in the very nature of things when we look at nature, right? That's what we were talking about. nature speaks. Okay, and so that which you cannot break into. See also high noon, Moses, Moshe'el, mother's pure shelter, priest, pure shelter, 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 and the sun. Here's a quote. Some people learn about the law at the worst possible moment, and it is at that time when they are in the most need of it due to some unforeseen or external challenge, and that is not just bad, but it is most often fatal. And that's by a friend of mine, J.R. Williamson. Law of nations. It originates within the law and the dictates that are found within nature, and is based upon the most certain divine decrees which have separated the nations and men. First right. So now we got international law, which is all of the one world order trickery. But originally it was the law of nations, where you were to be respected for all of your differences, for your how you dressed, for the customs that you followed. You know, yeah. Okay, Ninja. I expect to see you there. Okay. So and then see custom and usage, right? Laws of diction. The laws of diction have been destroyed within our modern engineered New World diction, and there aren't any true laws of diction anymore today. There are now only pretended laws. That's somebody I know, Desert Owl. Okay, and no Shatar associate, back about words again, means the law or the knowledge of association in diction, and that which is near or similar, above or below, as in the dictionary, is probably related, and usually is. In other words, when looking at a word in a dictionary, it is always important to look at the other words that are above and then below the word that you are looking at, and they will very often shed light on the word that you are trying to know. See association, law of diction, and shatar. See, they corrupted the word shelter, the pure shelter, the Khazarian Jews corrupted it, okay? And they now call it shitar, and they turned it into contract law. You see, they changed it from what was free for everyone and took control of it in the concept, in the idea, the precept, and took it over. And they changed the words and the meanings. That's what they do. The black law. Okay. So learning. All learning is a dead language and a dead sound for anyone who gets it a second hand. Oh, okay. I hadn't read this. This is by Ohisya, a traditional Native American. All learning is a dead language and a dead sound for anyone who gets it second hand. Okay, there you go. There you go. It's a little unusual in its expression, but get the picture, okay? All learning is as a dead language and as a dead sound for anyone who gets it second hand. Well, we got it all second hand, didn't we? And third hand, right? You see that? Even a traditional native knows that you have to receive it firsthand. That's why we received the corrupted form. That goes back into what I talked about in the duality of nature, right? That it was required in the Great Mystery, that which is talking about that which is false has taken over that which is true. And so we always get it secondhand, but then Yeshua, being the revealer, straightens it out, okay? He is the white serpent that straightens out the black serpent so we can get the message and the picture. That's the beauty in the Great Mystery. Okay, he is active. Yahweh and Yeshua are fully active within our universe. Absolutely active. But in the phony religious world, he's dead, and they're just going through mumbo jumbo and parroting what somebody else said, but never have a revelation, never can see and read it for themselves. They need somebody to hold their hand, but the one who's holding their hand is giving them the papal bull, okay? Because everything is under the control of the Vatican. The United States British Corporation is under the control of the Vatican. All Protestantism is now back under the control of the Vatican by the Jesuits and their henchmen, the Freemasons, okay? And Islam is here to destroy the last remnant of Christianity. It's found in the books of Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, the Grand Poobah of Freemasonry, they said they would use Islam to destroy the remnant of Christianity. They destroyed the East, all of the East, since 600 AD when the Vatican created them, and now all of Africa and the Middle East, all of those areas that used to be pure Christian and all the way into southern India are now Islamic. Okay, Islamic. Of course, India is still a big mix, and so now they're coming for the West. That's all that's left, the West. Okay, so and thank you for all your comments. Okay, I have to go back and read them. The law of nature. Oh, okay. We're on the law of nature here. Okay, the law of nature, the law of nations. A quote: "That which natural reason has established among all men is called the natural law for men, or the law of nations, common law maxim, custom and usage." See that? Okay, the law of nature and the law from nature. The law of nature is that which our God, common, or the sovereign of the universe has prescribed for all men. The laws of nature. Not only that's called natural law, or also the organic law, not by any formal promulgation or act of man, in other words, but by the internal dictate found within reason alone. It is discovered by a just preconsideration in the agreeableness or disagreeableness in man's actions towards the nature in any man. And it comprehends all the duties we owe, either to our supreme being or for ourselves or for our neighbors, as in a reverence for the one true God, self-defense, intemperance, honor for our parents, benevolence for all, with a strict adherence for our engagements, gratitude, and the like. See Erskine's Principles in first book of the Scott, and I'm not going to read all that. Okay, and also out of Bouvier's first edition, 1800s. See Law of Nations, Sovereign. The pure law. In the pure law or shelter, you can do anything that you want to do, just as long as you do not hurt anyone physically, damage anyone else's property, or break your word, bond, or agreement. Okay, that's the pure law. The pure and see Synderesis, natural law, law of nations, law of nature, law of Moses, and shelter. Okay, law, a quote: "The most important law to study is trust law, and it hasn't changed in centuries. The second in order would be contract law." That's somebody used to produce a radio program for Harmon Taylor, great, very great guy, out of Legal Reality. Okay, and so Synderesis is a word to look up in the law dictionary. I don't know if I could find it in here. Elemental PQRS. Let's see if I can find it real quick. QRS. Synthesis. There it is. Okay. Synderesis or Shindoreshesh. The natural force within the mind, set apart in the highest part therein, persistently moving and stirring it in the direction of good or perfection, and abhorring that which is blind, evil, or dark, and therefore Synderesis never in a non-adulterated state sins or closes its eye, nor errs. It is for this reason that our Lord put Synderesis in man, for the intent that the order for all things should be observed and thereby be preserved. For this reason, Synderesis is called by some men the law of reason, for it ministers all the principles found within the law of reason, that which be found within every man by nature, in that he is a reasonable creature, or at least should be. Doctrine and Studies 39 and Black 2nd, 1910. Synderesis 2, literally the glowing light of the Virgin Mother. There you go. The glowing light of the Virgin Mother. See, consciousness, natural law, shelter, the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Judgments. And back on law, we're almost done here, and we're going to get into a little bit of the words that kill, and then our history of the church. Okay, how are we doing on time here? Okay, the clock is ticking. The pure, okay. Lexicon. I got lexicon here too. We just talked about that. I think I'll just read that real quick because lexicon, the lex icon, The book of Hebrew interpretation. Lex equals law. I equals the I. And con, what don't we know is a con? Law of the con is the lexicon, literally. Or okay, so the interpretation is that this is the tongue or diction of that the Phoenicians used to conquer the world with the ancient Phoenician Hebrew Aramaic alphabet. They took it over, and it was the original Sanskrit. Sanskrit, okay, not Sanskrit. Sanskrit. But now what's in India today is Pseudo-Sanskrit, because our Aramaic on your driver's license is the original Sanskrit. I was surprised to find that instead of referring to Israel, this book was referring to the great Phoenician merchants in regard to the diction. So even the lexicon, when it's presenting the Hebrew, is not attributing it to Pseudo-Israel, who disappeared in 730 AD, but actually was referring to it for the Phoenicians, okay? So that was what was amazing about the lexicon. The Hebrew lexicon was attributing it to the Phoenicians, and I forgot that. I just read it here in the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary. There's so much to remember. I can't do it, ladies and gentlemen, so that's why I have to write these dictionaries, you know? And, you know, if you want to get a copy, don't forget you can get the PDF right here today. Any size donation, okay, go to therealpublicradio.net. PayPal button is there, and if you don't have the funny money, can't do it for any technical reason or whatever, I'll just be glad to get it to you by email. 300 pages, 8.5 by 11. Okay, it's a big work, PDF format. And remember, we talked about lib yesterday. I'll do liberty just to finish out here. Liberty, cyber code for no Shatar associate. Cyber code etymology, no Shatar associate, lib. Okay, Lubin, also to castrate or to cut off. Chapman, 1700s. Okay, 2, libation, noun, libato or libio, libo. Okay, to pour out, libo, like libation. Webster's, 1828. 3, libard, leopard. Okay, there's spotted. There's a root for spotted as well for leopard. And that's what they do, right? They cut us off. Right? That's what the B system did. They cut us off from everything that we were supposed to know. And then ultimately they cut off our life, right? Okay? So libard, leopard, spotted, Spencer's, Milton, circa the 1700s. 4, libard's bane, noun as a poisonous plant, poison. Johnson's 1700 dictionary. And then 5, libel, noun, stripping, separating, deformity in writing. Okay? There's your liberation, deformity in writing, a word form used in admiralty law, Webster's 1828. 6, liberal, A, without restraint, open-ended, that which is permitted, primary root, lie. What part of a lie don't we get? Okay, as in a lie. C, bane, libel, liability, freedom, free judgment, and freedom. Okay, lies, a lie will quickly race around the world while the truth is quietly putting on its shoes. Author unknown. And and I've got the lies of history here. I'm going to have to refer to this for next time. The great lies of history. Okay. So yeah, we have to know the nature of law, ladies and gentlemen. You know, because they didn't tell us in school, and you're going to learn about law at the worst time you need it. Okay, it's when you need it. That's the worst time to learn about law, because you'll be under so much stress and. But the pure shelter, that's the easy one. That's the good one to know that Yeshua is there. And even if you're, not proficient in things, Yeshua is there with the pure shelter to deliver us. Okay. A few more words, then we're history of the church. I'm going to get into the piracy of words. I think you really find this rather intriguing, obviously, and you're getting probably the most condensed version that anybody's ever given, on this topic in a lot of different areas, because I've been doing this all my life, right? Literally been doing this all my life. So and it's rather I feel like the Indiana Jones of words, because it'd be a lot of fun to go dig an ancient temple somewhere. Boy, that's a lot of work and it's pretty dusty. But boy, I get to stay home and I traverse the universe with the words, the code. The code is unfolding, And so now we're in the letter M. And you know, like I said, when these discoveries come, you don't forget. You don't forget, ladies and gentlemen. So letter M, okay? M is the primary, stands for mother, then moon. Okay, M is the primary symbol of mother and moon. Those are the two primaries. And mountain and mortar and motor, which is also mother. Mortar is mother, right? What puts the bricks together? The mortar is the mother also. Okay, and more, mother's light. Well, more is also the primary root of mother as well. More. There we see the more, meaning more of the light that flows, that brings forth creation. Okay. In the pure tradition, the virgin light of the sun is Mary, the mother's rays of nourishment, the pure virgin light. But in the occult tradition, she is the counterfeit, moral, wants more and wants it all. Lucifer, the great idea. The moon, the great symbol of Lucifer, of the night. Merely a reflection of the true light, but in actuality is a whore and death without any light. That's why Masonic means the mother sons of darkness. Go figure. Also known as the jealous goddess, the jealous goddess. She demands blood and didn't want to let the baby go. No, she wanted to keep the baby for herself. Didn't want to give it to the father. This is the reason there has always been war, ladies and gentlemen. War, because her minions are happy to oblige her, and especially because the business is good, right? That's why they get all the military generals to get stock in all those companies that make war equipment, right? What a conflict of an interest, right? All the generals have stock in Boeing and or whatever war machine company makes war machines, and so what a conflict of interest. They all profit. They profit by war. What a conflict of interest that is, right? I'm telling you. Who cares if Lucifer is just an idea, a never-ending corporate body of liars who took on a life of her own kind? See, craft, treason, money, moon eye, dancing with the stars, slavery, mind control. Lucifer, you deserve a break today. The 500-year cycle of the Phoenix. Want to buy a bridge in Brooklyn? People go to the movies to be entertained by all the blood and gore, while the priesthoods are laying out the message subliminally that they are coming to kill our families, take them away, and intend to kill everyone, while smiling and laughing all the way to their private banks. Right, Joker? That's right. See the Georgia Guidestones. They say you are a virus upon the earth and need to be exterminated, virus. Written in stone for all time, immemorial. And when we're all gone, those stones will still be there, no doubt. And by the way, policeman, remember we talked about the bankruptcy and the War and Emergency Powers Act that the bankers created, made us the enemy, officially declared us the enemy. And it's the emerging sea. It's the admiralty upon the land. And so therefore, that's why they're in commerce, because all about the money. There is no law. And so policemen, because we went under public policy, therefore policemen are the policy men. Police is a play on the word policy. They're the policy men. They're going to keep the policy of the beast system going. And they're most often they're not following any law either. They're reckless. They're arrogant, and they're in a secret society, and therefore they're subject to a higher law, and don't give a flip about you and me. And so not only are they policy men, but they're making you an offer when they pull you over. It's an offer in commerce, and that's why when the cop gets out of the car, walks over to you, you say, "Hello, offer, sir." Offer, sir. You mean, yeah, may I have your offer? You're making me an offer in commerce. Oh, I better sign here? Okay, I guess we're having a conviction right on the side of the road. I better sign, give you my sign, or I'm going to the clinker. So, okay, I get your offer. I'm going to have to pay $150. Otherwise, I go to jail. Okay. All right, where do I sign? So it's an offer. Offer, sir. Policy men, policemen. You see? Right there in the words, they're telling you, they're laughing all the way to the bank. They pull you over with sirens. Sirens, well, that's Greek mythology. In the Greek mythology, if you were sailing the ship too close to the island of the sirens, if you heard the sirens, they would pull you over onto the rocks and you would be ruined. Woo, woo, woo. Get the picture, ladies and gentlemen. Get the picture. They're pretty good tricksters, aren't they? I'm telling you, they worked hard late at night to figure all this stuff out, didn't they? For a long, long time. It's the merchant code, ladies and gentlemen. Those crafts, they're very crafty. Craft in Middle English means treason. Treason are the tree's sons. Those are the ones who crafted the ship, the tree's sons. That's treasons. And they're traders, and they love to trade. You know, traders love to trade. It's all about business. Business is good. Okay. So, magma, one more of the pirate sea of words. Oh, it's a pretty good one, too. But this is a good revelation, okay? Magma. There's your mother again, the ma. The mag means the center of the mother. Magma is the center of the mother. There it is, right there in the literal sense. Magma, the center of the mother. Why? Because it comes out of the heart of the Mother Earth, right? The magma comes out of her heart. Okay, let me take a sip of my drink here to cool my voice. And by the way, you are tuned in right here to therealpublicradio.net. Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know, if you noticed, but we tell it right here. I'm Desert Owl, a bird who sees on the night. Glad to have you. Hope you're telling your friends about the broadcast. We got a little bit of time left, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to get real serious. Because it is serious. And I don't mean the star system serious, okay? Because that's what they want to have us all think from. We came from the star Sirius. Give me a break. I came from the sovereign light of Yahweh. Okay? He is spirit. We're not aliens from another planet. This is the planet we were put on by Yahweh and the great Elohim. Okay. So, magma. The Lying Strong's Concordance says that Adam means red dirt, okay? But that is a priesthood lie. Chapter 2, verse 6 of Genesis was altered. Some translations say that a fountain gushed forth. That would also be in Philo. And remember, the water and creation was already here, okay? But it was a volcano that was erupting. In the King James, it says a mist came forth. But I looked up mist in the Oxford Dictionary, the biggest dictionary in the world. And mist means mystery, okay? It means they're not telling you. Right there in the word mist is mystery. What, come on, a mist? Well, certainly that wasn't the ocean. A mist came forth. They don't want you to get the picture. See? Get the picture, ladies and gentlemen. But it was a volcano that was erupting. And Adam, the blood of the earth, was formed from the center and breast of his mother. The volcano represents the breast on the woman. You see, what's the first thing happens when a baby is born? It turns to its mother, and it has to nurse on the breast. And we came from the breast of the volcano, not from dirt. We're not from dirt. We're from the fiery, purified mineral sorts and salts of the earth, the magma. Okay, and the center of the breast of his mother, with all of the purified minerals and salts that are contained within the fire of our own bodies. The earth is hot, and we're hot in that sense. You see, the blood blowing through our veins, the red in us, is symbolic of the red in our Mother Earth. We are a reflection of creation. We bleed red blood, and our Mother's Earth bleeds red blood. Hadam, as in a dam of magma, means blood of the earth. Even in Native American cultures, ladies and gentlemen, they called the first man the blood clot boy. Blood clot boy. Can you not see that magma looks like a blood clot? Right? And we are the lifeblood of the earth, unless you think you're dirt. But the Elohimic mother could not give life to Hadam after she formed him on the earth. And so our great Father came down in the great mystery. Yahweh breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and he breathed the gnosis. The gnosis was breathed into him. He was immediately able to communicate, see the G at the center of magma. Yeah, and magma is a perfect anagram. It can be spelled the same way forward and backwards. Ma for mother, matter. Gamma for light, magma. Gamma for light. Mag for the center of everything and our story. We're the center of the story. It's all about us, ladies and gentlemen, is it not? We are the royal Malik. In that sense, we are the angels. It's all about us. That's why the universe came into being, so that we could have an experience and learn about who we really are, and then know that we're not of this world, and to go back home to the great spirit, the breath that breathed and brought forth the light. Okay, so we are at the center of everything, and our story. You can see the volcano again at the end of the book in Revelations 20, 12 through 15. You see, in other words, what did it say? That those who are liars and those who are not a part of the breath of the wind of fire of Yahweh and Yeshua, then what happens to them? They go back into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. Brimstone is sulfur. They go back to from where they came, back to the mixing pot. Okay? To the mixing pot. They didn't qualify. They're out of here. So you see, if you don't make it, you go back to where you came from. The fiery elements of the cosmos and the great cosmic tree. The lake of fire that burns with brimstone, which is sulfur, which is the soul fire. Means the fire of a star, because the earth came out of the sun. The fire of the sun, the soul, S-O-L, soul, S-O-U-L, soul, Sul, S-O-O-L, the serpent owl, the serpent and the owl. It's the great mystery. You don't know, but they didn't teach us stuff in school. Of course, they wanted us brain dead. They wanted us to be easy to control. They wanted us under their mind control and not to be free in Yeshua. You need to learn to see in the night, ladies and gentlemen. You want to have the sunrise. That's when Yeshua rises from the dead. It was the sunrise. Symbolically, that is when you rise from the dead and receive the great breath of the wind and fire. Go learn what that means. See the works of Philo, who was also a friend of Yeshua, Yeshua. Okay, so there's a bit of the piracy of words, and don't forget, you heard it here first. And I'm just happy to be here to do it for you. It's an honor and a privilege, you know, and we've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. And they got every diversion we could ever ask for, every diversion, you know, and we got to get focused. We got to focus finitely on the true nature of everything, the nature of things, and we won't be complaining anymore. There's nothing to complain about. We can know that we can know that we can know, and then we just got to get to work on our knees and helping our brother and our sister out, pulling them out of the fire. Okay, you won't forget. Very good. And look, I'm going to go to a song. Then when we get back, it's the history of the church. I know we're going over a little bit, but I know that today is a day that is more special, it seems, than other days, because we've always been in the pattern of, going deep. This is my day. This is the only thing I do on Sunday in particular. I go inward. That's what I do on Sunday. And so I'm breaking bread with you right now. And I'm going to read at least one chapter out of the original gospel, because I missed it yesterday. And so I'm glad you're hanging in there with me. And I hope everybody's doing okay out there. You know, you're welcome to call in. You want to make a comment, observation, or anything, got a question, love to hear from you always. So don't go away. We'll be right back. You're tuned in to the original gospel and the history of the church, coming up next on the realpublicradio.net. Yep. I'm wearing out. It's true, but that's okay. I'm still having fun with all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you. We'll be right back. Love you, Ninja. Thank you. Love those hearts. Mew, I'm sorry if I missed any of your messages. I see up there you're happy and love today, especially. Outstanding, okay? Forgive me for missing any comments. I'm on overload myself, okay? And love everybody out there. Don't mean to miss anybody. I mean, who can't love Mew Mew, right? Jeez. Obviously, she's the cat's meow. Come on. Thank you, Mew Mew. Love you too. And yes, I am having I'm a spirit having an earthly experience with a bunch of cool cats out there, and it's just a great thing, you know. I never saw this coming. I'm pinching myself every day to have so many wonderful friends that join me on the Forbidden History series. This interactive radio, you know, I never had this before. It was always like you talk to a microphone and nobody, you don't see anybody, and you don't know how many people are listening or anything. And all of a sudden, it's like, you know, that you can talk back and forth from around the world. Mew Mew's in Venezuela, Ninja is in you know, Australia, and Y'all Love is in Germany, and who do we have? Liz is in Ireland. So it's an amazing experience to have this close connection with people all over the globe. You know, all over the globe. So it's a I you know, I don't have a life. I guess you may have noticed that. So I'm happy to do this twice a day. In fact, I need it. I need to do this twice a day for my own soul novation, okay? Because we can't get enough of it. You know that, right? We can't, like we eat, it's interesting, you know, we eat food 3 times a day, right? Typically. Everybody makes sure they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But what about the spiritual food, right? Yeshua said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every shavor, every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh. That's the only way. You know, we can eat 3 meals a day our entire life on earth and we go to the grave. But if we eat this food, every day, and we have to, then we can transcend this world and be set free, ladies and gentlemen. It's within the DNA of life, what I classically called the DNA of life. You know, the words, the shavors. They are the DNA of life. Without words, we could do nothing. We wouldn't know anything. We would be like the amoeba. You know? Absolutely. Absolutely. We're all interconnected. We are all in the play of the one. Yes. Well, I find, before I was doing this with all of you, I literally, was at the point of just wanting to die. I wasn't talking to anybody. What do you do with all this, all the, this download, like, remember Neo in the Matrix, and he plugs him in, and, and he says, okay, get ready. We're going to teach you Kung Fu. And then all of a sudden, and within a moment, he knows how to do Kung Fu, and he comes out of it, he goes, wow, and then the guy at the panel says, oh, Mikey, it looks like he likes it. So what do you want now? Can we learn jujitsu? Sure. Okay. Plug him in. Boom. And so I think you can tell that Yahweh, through our great Elohim Yeshua, has given me a download. I climbed the mountain. Remember, you saw the picture of the mountain I climbed? I went there for a vision. Well, did he leave me empty? No way. He filled me with, he continually put me at the right place at the right time to get the picture, to get the vision, to see and read it for myself. And, I'm in a cosmic dream, the very place where I was born was called 98 Right Place, and then 1998 was when I fell victim to the government sting operation. And then I found out, well, okay, that was the right place because it was going to teach me something, right? Yeah. That's right. We've all had our downtime. That's right. We've all had our downtime. So, and we're here to pick each other up. That's what we got to do. And so, all right, let me turn on my light. And we're in the history of the church by Eusebius. I have many questions about Eusebius, but nonetheless, this is the most ancient history we can find, next to Josephus, which is about ancient Asia Real. Eusebius, the history of the church, is about our Mosaic game tradition and what's been stolen from us. So we've got to read it, even though there are enigmas in here that need to be questioned and prodded through. So here we are with Annianus, Bishop of Alexandria, in the 8th year of Nero's reign. Annianus was the first, after Mark, the evangelist, to take charge of the See of Alexandria. Okay? And, well, that was a short verse. Now we're in the Neronian persecution in which Paul and Peter died. Okay. So when Nero's power was not firmly established, he gave himself up to unholy practices, that's an understatement, and took up arms against the divine of the universe, our sovereign of the universe, to describe the monster. Remember that the Caesars were claiming to be like, just like Pharaoh on the sun throne. Okay, hearts speak loud enough, Ninja. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, Lou, good having you. Thank you for stopping by, and be safe out there, okay? And don't breathe too deep outside. Remember that. And everybody needs to get a air purifier for their house. Okay, so he went against the sovereign of the universe to describe the monster of depravity that he became lies outside the. Oh, what I was saying was Nero, also claimed to be on the sun throne. He claimed, that's what Caesar means. Czar means the star. So Caesar correctly means the fire of a star. The fire of a star, okay? The fire of a star. That's what he claims. So when these Christians are saying, well, we're worshiping Yahweh, who is, also seated on the throne of the sun. Well, that's a conflict, isn't it? Caesar is saying he's seated on the sun throne. And so that's what's going on. That's why they had to kill the Christians. It was a conflict of religion, you see. And this is what's not being talked about. So to describe the monster of depravity that he became lies outside the scope of the present work. Many writers have recorded the facts about him in minute detail, enabling anyone who wishes to get a complete picture of his perverse and extraordinary madness, which led him to the senseless destruction of innumerable lives, and not to mention he burned down half of Rome, and drove him to in the end to such a lust for blood that he did not spare even his next of kin and his dearest, but employed a variety of methods to do away with mother, brothers, and wife alike, and his sister. Okay, she was pregnant, and he strung her up and cut out her baby while she was alive, to say nothing of countless of other members of his family, as if they were personal and public enemies. All this left one crime still to be added. Now that was a true definition of a psychopath if there ever was one, right? I'm telling you. And all this left one crime still to be added to his account. He was the first of the emperors to be the declared enemy of the worship of Yahweh and our great Elohim, Yeshua. And to this the Roman Tertullian refers in the following terms. Study your records. There you will find that Nero was the first to persecute this teaching when, after subjugating the entire East, Rome especially, he treated everywhere with savagery. In Rome especially, he treated it with everyone with extreme savagery. That such a man was the author of our chastisement fills us with pride. For anyone who knows him can comprehend that anything not supremely good would never have been condemned. Not supremely good would never have been condemned by Nero, only that which would be supremely good. So it came about that this man, the first to be heralded as a conspicuous fighter against Yahweh, was led on to murder the royal messengers. It is recorded that in his reign, Paul was beheaded in Rome itself, and that Kephe, falsely called Peter, likewise was crucified, and the record is confirmed by the fact that the enemies there are still called by the titles of Peter and Paul, which correctly would be Kephe and Shaul, and equally so by the churchman named Gaius, who was living while Zephyrinus was the bishop of Rome. In his published dialogue with Proculus, the leader of the Phrygian heretics, Gaius has this to say about the place where the mortal remains of the two royal messengers have been reverently laid. I can point out that monuments of the victorious. Let me try this again. I can point out the monuments of the victorious royal messengers, the Malachim, aka apostles. If you will go as far as the Vatican or the Ostian Way, you will find the monuments of those who founded this body of the called out ones, the perfect circle, the church, that they were both martyred at the same time. Bishop Dionysius of Corinth informs us in a letter written to the Romans, quote, "In this way, by your impressive admonition, you have bound together all that has grown from the seed which Kephe and Shaul showed in Romans and Corinthians alike. For both of them sowed in our Corinth and taught us jointly in Italy too. They taught jointly in the same city and were martyred at the same time. These evidences make the truth of my account still more certain." That's Eusebius on the last line. And then when we continue tomorrow, beginning at the last Judean war against Rome. I guess that would have been the revolt in 68 and 70 AD. And there's the great lies of the history of the church, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll do one chapter out of the original gospel, aka the Aquarian gospel. And don't forget, you can get a free download of the PDF on the realpublicradio.net website. Go to the realpublicradio.net/original_gospel.html. That's the realpublicradio.net/original_gospel.html. Scroll to the bottom and you'll see the PDF download, or click on the book for Aquarian Gospel. Get the 1919 wide margin reprint edition, a classic. Okay, so we're in chapter 27 now. crawling our way through the biggest gospel of them all, 182 chapters, the story that's never been told, the greatest story that ever been told, should have actually had the greatest book ever written, and it does. It's just they hid it from us, and they put a phony introduction in it so we wouldn't know the true origin, that it came out of the basement of the Vatican or the Library of Sophia in Constantinople. And so strap in, and I hope you have a copy. And let's read. And so Yeshua is in India. I think, I'm not sure where he's at here. I forget where we're at. So let's find out. The fame of Yeshua as a seed planter spread through all the land. And remember, I do import the original thought as I read, okay? Because we have to get back to original. And so if you're following, then you can see how I'm doing it. Okay? The fame of Yeshua as a seed planter spread throughout all the land, and the people came from near and far to hear his burning swords of fire of truth from the tree's root. At Bahar, on the Shakwar river of the Brahm, he taught, he plowed and planted seed for many Dayel. And Ach, a wealthy blood of the earth of Bahar, made a feast in honor of his guest, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtesans. And Yeshua sat with them and plowed and planted seed, but they who followed him were much aggrieved because he sat with thieves and courtesans. You know, courtesans means, harlot. And they upbraided him, and they said, seed planter, mother star of the wise, this day will be a day of darkness for you. The news will spread that you consort with whores and thieves, and blood of the earth will shun you just as they shun a wasp. And Yeshua answered them and breathed, a mother star never screens himself for the sake of reputation or flame. These are the worthless bubbles of the day that rise and sink like empty bottles on a stream, and they are illusions and will pass away. They are the impure thoughts to what the thoughtless think. They are the noise that people make, and shallow men judge merit by the noise they make. Yavohe, the great Aleph Haim, and all the mother star men judge blood of the earth by what they are and not by what they seem to be, not by their reputation and their flame. These harlots and thieves are also the seed of my great father Yavohe, and their souls are just as precious in his sight as yours, or of the Brahmic Amen priest. And they are working out the same problems and challenges that you are working out in life, who pride yourselves of your respectability and moral worth that you are working out. And some of them have solved much harder problems than you have solved. You blood of the earth who look at them with scorn. Yeah, they are blind in their actions, but confess their guilt, while you are guilty, but are shrewd enough to have put on a polished coat that shines to cover up your guilt. Suppose you blood of the earth who scorn these whores, or these drunks and these thieves, who think you are pure in heart and life, that you are better by far than they are. Stand up now, you blood of the earth, and know, let's just know who you really are. The blindness lies in the wish, in the intention, in the desire, and not merely in the act. You covet other people's wealth. You look at beautiful forms, and deep within your hearts you lust for them. Deceit you practice every day, and wish for gold and honor and for flame, just as your selfishness benefits yourself. The blood of the earth who covets is a thief, and she who lusts is a whore. And if you are none of these, then speak out now. But nobody spoke. The accusers held their peace, And Yeshua breathed. And then the proof, this Dayel, is against those who have accused and yet remain silent. The pure in heart do not accuse others. The vile in heart who want to cover up their guilt in the guise of pure smoke of piety are ever loathing drunkards, thieves, and whores. This loathing and this scorn is mockery. For if the tinseled and shiny coat of reputation would be torn away from you, the loud professor would be found to revel in his own lust and deceit and many other forms of secret darkness. The blood of the earth who spends his time in pulling up other people's weeds has no time to pull up his own weeds. And all the choicest flowers of life will soon be choked and die. And nothing will remain but darnel, tinsel, burrs, and thorns, and spikes. And Yeshua sparked the parable, and the eye breathed. You must see and read it for yourself. A farmer had great fields of ripened grain, and when he looked and he saw that blades of many stalks of wheat were bent and broken down, and when he sent his reapers forth, he said, we will not save the stalks of wheat that have the broken blades. Go out and cut and burn the stalks with broken blades. And after many days he went to measure his grain, but did not find a single kernel within his store. And then he called the harvesters and said to them, where is my grain? And they answered him and breathed, we did according to your word. We gathered up and burned all the stalks that had broken blades, and there was not a stalk that was left to carry into the barn. And Yeshua breathed, if Yahweh saves only those who have no broken blades, who have been perfect in his own sight, then who would then be saved? And the accusers hung their head in shame, and Yeshua went his way. And you just got the forbidden history right here, ladies and gentlemen. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell every day, twice a day, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And you did see and read it for yourself? I hope you did, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming at us every which way but loose, right? That old classic saying. And we need to put on that white robe, and that's the hardest thing to do in this world, isn't it? But we have to. And we do it through knowledge. Where there is no, people perish for a lack of knowledge, and where there's no vision, people perish, right? Think about that for a second. So what are we going to do, right? We have to keep on keeping on. We have to keep turning those pages of time and the pages of our book. And thank you, y'all love. And then just maybe we can have a miracle, because it is a miracle to be saved and be transformed in our being, and to conquer the self, and to put away the darkness and the blindness that has continually caused us to fall, right? But we have to eat that bread every day, the bread of life. Not breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but the bread of life that sets us free. So I want to thank you for tuning in today. Hope you're telling your friends, and hope you're having a revelation and a vision, and that will transcend you into eternity in a day without end. I'm Desert Owl, thanking you for tuning in. And don't forget, if you want to know the future, then you simply need to look for the forbidden history right here. Thanks for tuning in. You know it's what they didn't want you to know, don't you? Of course you do. Peace and love, everyone. Thank you, Ninja. Peace and love to you. You're all great. You're all great. And thank you, Mew Mew. Peace and love to you. I saw some of those comments floating by, and yeah. Can't wait till it gets busy. Boy, I'm not going to be able to read anybody's comments then. Love you too. Look for you tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. TheRealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. Signing off. Take care, Liz. Thank you. Be safe out there. out in Dublin. Love to go there someday. Way to go. Yeah. Love you too.